Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session this evening. So this is going to be called The Mission. I'm going to make sure I can share my slides and make sure you can all see them okay. Okay, so how was that? You can see them? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Great. So what I like to do, especially for evening calls, because I'm guessing a lot of you are probably in the UK like I am, and we've often turned up after a long day at work, in our business, looking after kids, whatever it is for you. And we can be a bit kind of all over the place. Maybe you've just made dinner and kind of landed here. Oh, there's someone not on mute. Um, Emma, yeah, perfect, thank you. I don't have the ability to do that. So what I like to do is just kind of land and ground first of all, because you may have rushed here. So we'll just take a moment and get grounded. So if you just close your eyes, take a big breath in and out. And just as much as you can, try to empty your mind of any thoughts, any chatter. You have nothing to do now, hopefully, for the next 30 to 60 minutes, however long we're here today. But this is your chance to really be here now, to have this time for you to connect with your soul, your truth, your mission, your calling, to be in this wonderful space of women, this beautiful circle of soul-aligned women. So just really dropping into the present moment. You can call in your guides, your higher self. And if you just set the intention from within that you will receive whatever it is that you need to receive today. You don't have to know what that is exactly, but that you will receive whatever you need to receive today. And you can just have a little stretch. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And hopefully you're feeling a bit more calm and grounded. So I would love to know in the chat, where is everyone based? Where are you all at the moment? I am in Devon in England. Maybe moving soon. We're looking at houses, but still in England. Still cooking the kids' dinner. Bristol, amazing. Okay, you're about 2 hours from me. Cambridgeshire, Dorset, yes, Dorset, my home county. Derby, Hertfordshire. Okay, so all UK based. Another Dorset, amazing. Dorset, of course, perfect. Okay, so we're all in the same time zone. So this is going to be a chance for you to just drop in and connect with your soul, your mission, your calling. And what I would like to know as well is, what are you doing right now? Are you full-time in business, full-time in a job, but you feel like there's something else you want to do, you don't know what? Are you doing a job and a side hustle? Have you taken some time out to be a mum and now you're figuring out what your business is going to be next? Let me know kind of where you're at on your career journey. That will give me an idea of who I'm talking to. Andover, Hampshire. Yes, I lived in Hampshire when I was at university. I went to Southampton. Full-time corporate, but definitely not aligned. Full-time astrologer. I love that, Lexi. Amazing. Okay, so we've got a bit of a mix. Anyone else? Where are you at right now in terms of your career? Full-time social worker, resigning on Monday. Feels so scary. The fear is fearing as it gets closer to handing in resignation, and have soul, business, and consultancy. Amazing. Well, good luck for Monday. Part-time feng shui consultant, recently qualified life coach, and fledgling entrepreneur. Name chosen and about to register, building my business, full-time coaching, full-time social worker. Oh, sorry, that's the same comment. Someone just commented on it. Fear is excitement. Absolutely. Amazing. Okay, so we've got a bit of a mix, but you're very much in the right room. This is exactly the kind of thing that I do. I work with soul-led entrepreneurs, beautiful healers, coaches, wellness entrepreneurs, and have done for 7 years now. So you're all in the right place. Full-time working in IT company, single mum to two boys. Wow, that's a lot. Looking to get back into yoga teaching too, but supporting women through divorce, separation, amazing. Beauty therapist, breakup and divorce coach also. Okay, amazing. Well, let's get into it then. So this session today is about making money in your soul's purpose. So I know a lot of you are already in business, and that's why we set the intention at the beginning that you'll receive whatever you need to receive today. So whether you are full-time in a job, full-time in your business, part-time in your business, wherever you're at, hopefully you will receive something that will shift something for you, create a little light bulb moment, a bit of clarity, a breakthrough, a new way of seeing something in your life and business. So I have a book, I have it next to me. It's called Living in Tune. And when I wrote this book, it was after many, many years of trying to figure out what I was meant to be doing. And I know some of you said that you worked in corporate or you work in corporate. I did too. So I started my career in JP Morgan, then I worked in fashion, and I realized, okay, I just don't want a job. Like, full stop, period. Don't want a job. I hate having a job. I hate being in an office. Like, it's just not for me. And I realized, okay, entrepreneurship is the thing. But then I started in entrepreneurship and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. The first thing I actually did was an Amazon business where I created these little gratitude stones. This is the only one I have left. I created yoga gear, and that was my first business. But what actually happened was one day I got hit with huge fees from Amazon because the stock that had been in the warehouse for more than 6 months, they massively increased the fees on it. And then I had to sell it all at a discount to get rid of it. And I ended up making a loss. And I was like, okay, I don't think this is right. Like, I don't think this is what I'm meant to be doing. But while I had been building that business, I had a website and a social media account, and I'd started blogging. And I'd been noticing that the posts I was doing on that social media account, which I did every Wednesday, that were longer, that were more kind of teaching style posts, and obviously writing the blogs, they were doing like 3 times better than any of the other posts that I was writing. And so this love for writing and teaching through writing was born through that business. So even though that business wasn't the ultimate end thing, it was a step on my entrepreneurial journey, the first step on my entrepreneurship journey. And it also really showed me that I enjoyed writing, that there was something there, like there was a thread to pull on, because I wasn't someone who always knew they were going to be an author. And a lot of people say that they always wanted to be an author, wanted to be an author since they were a child. That wasn't me. I liked English. I found English easy, but I followed a business path. I did an economics degree, marketing branding masters, like all very kind of business based. I didn't study English or anything like that. But for me, the book calling came through having a message, having an important message and teachings that I wanted to share, which were all based on my journey. I feel like someone here must like have a book in them or want to be an author, because I've run this class before and I've never talked about this like book piece, but I'm going into it today. And yeah, the book was just something that happened organically because my own journey showed me things that should have been obvious, could have been obvious, but no one had ever taught me, ever, to listen to my intuition. No one had ever told me to pay attention to how I feel. Like, it's so obvious and so simple, but I ran my entire life from my head, from logic. What should I do? I grew up without money. Money was a big stress. So I thought, okay, how can I make money? Like, that was my only drive, and it was all coming from my mind. At no point did I think, what will I enjoy? What do I like doing? Like, that was just never a consideration for me. And if I'd asked those questions earlier on, I was a spiritual child. Read tarot since I was 14. Like, I've always loved spiritual things. I was a witchy little girl doing spells, spend my pocket money in the metaphysical shops on mood rings and crystals and candles, and I'd cut out the spells from Miss Magazine, and I was always spiritual. So that was always there, and that was always my passion. I remember one time in university being mortified because one of my housemates went into my room when I wasn't there, and I had a tarot spread laid out on my floor. And I remember panicking and be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And like nothing was ever said about it. But I was like, oh, what are they going to think? Like, it was just this secret little thing that I always had as a way of connecting me to the divine. So it was always there. And maybe I would have ended up in this career. Now, obviously, your path is your path, and my path unfolded as it was meant to. But I just never realized. I never realized that I should do what I wanted to do. I never realized what my soul gifts were. And so that is why I created the book. That's why I have the business that I have now, which is all about helping people to understand their soul gifts and do work that they love to do so they don't end up miserable at work every day. They don't end up burning out and they don't have all that resentment. And I actually ended up with an anxiety disorder as well, which was my big cue to leave corporate life. So, in the introduction to my book, I say your purpose is simply the place where your soul feels at home because it's completely in tune with the life that you're living. And I use a few words interchangeably: purpose, calling, mission, things like that. And it's basically just aligning you perfectly with who you are on the inside, being driven by your passion and what it is that you love to do, and making sure that you're utilizing your unique gifts in the world to their full potential so that you can reach your full potential in this life and none of your dreams go unanswered. Because I remember when I was sitting in a grey desk swivel chair in an office, I distinctly remember the feeling of only being at 40%. And I used to think I'm at like 40% here, like, and I don't care to give anymore. Like, just let me go, let it be time for me to leave. And I had more, but I wasn't in alignment. And so I wasn't giving it fully. And that's very different to when you're doing what you love and you're all in. So if you want to make money doing what you love and what lights you up, you're not alone. And I'm very much of the opinion it's not just work. And I never used to understand this when people were like, oh, it's just work. And I was like, but I spend my entire life here. And what was the Sunday scaries became the Saturday scaries and the Friday night scaries. And even the time I wasn't at work, all I would do is dread work. So our work is very important and it's where you spend most of your life. And when your career is aligned with your calling, you get to have purpose, passion, and more money than ever before. So I've already talked a bit about my book, and it's basically a framework to help you get clarity on your gifts. There are lots of journaling questions, and it's a practical guide to help you listen to your intuition and figure out what your soul purpose is. So these are some pictures from my past. There's a picture from my graduation from my bachelor's degree. There is a picture on the bottom. Well, there's in the bottom corners. One of them's at JP Morgan when I was giving a presentation on the graduate scheme, and you can literally see in my face how inflamed I am. The other one, that was when I was working at Next head office as a merchandiser, stressing out about deliveries and production and launch dates and all of that. The middle picture, I haven't actually checked it recently, but a few years ago, this was on the Careers Next website, on the careers section. At the bottom in the middle, that's me writing my book. I used to live in Leicester. That's where the Next head office was. And I used to live in Leicester. Ooh, and that was me pitching to Hay House again and again, trying to get them to give me a book deal. And that was a few years in the making. And then at the top, in the top middle, no one can ever believe that's me. That was my kind of old life growing up, but I was always that witchy, gothic teenager. And then the top photo of the table, that was my little tarot reading table in Glastonbury. And the first paid offer that I ever had in my business was paid tarot readings because I was trying to get a book deal first of all, and I was doing that for about a year and a half. And then I got to a point where I was like, right, I kind of want to make some money now. Like I want to start getting paid somehow. And so I thought to myself, right, what can I do where I can get paid right now? What can I do that I'm already qualified in? And I was like, well, I've been reading tarot for half of my life. And so I'm going to start doing tarot readings. I've always read for friends and things like that. And so I bought 4 tarot books just to fill any gaps in my knowledge. And the first offer I ever launched was tarot readings for $45. And I was terrified, but I actually loved it. And I did that for about 2 years. Served so many people with readings. I was also doing 12 YouTube videos a month, one tarot reading for each star sign. Still on my Instagram account today, I do a live at the beginning of every month where I do a tarot forecast for the month ahead and I do some card pulls. But my first foray into spiritual business was actually being a tarot reader. So do let me know in the chat if you also read tarot. I know it's something that Emma teaches in one of her programs. Let me just have a look in the chat here. Lexi has a book, amazing. Oh, being off work sick, I've stepped back into my soul business and started doing tarot alongside my oracle readings, etc. Love it, amazing. Oh, I don't. There are like 2.5, well, in in the Bournemouth office, which is where I work, there are like 2,500 people on there, that campus. So I do not. Okay, and then this is today. So if any of you have been to the Mind Body Spirit Festival, I spoke there last year, going on retreats. Uh, Emma actually came on one of my retreat days. I've got one of my retreat days pictured there. And this is what is possible when you build a business from your soul gifts, but it takes time. I know a lot of you have already done that, so I won't talk about it too much, but it does take time. It's definitely a process. I started in 2018. My first paid offer was beginning of 2020. Lisa from Bournemouth left due to burnout, started soul business. She runs a lot of things in soul school. Oh no, but I feel like I should be introduced. So maybe send me a DM after with her profile because it sounds like we have a very similar story. I've used Oracle cards for years and did Em's tarot course earlier this year and trying to build confidence with it. Would love to offer readings one day. Amazing. Yes, they're a really good way to start. And what I would say as well, because I started doing readings, when I then offered coaching 6 or 7 months later, it was in the summer, it was like June or July that year, all of my clients were people I'd done readings for because they knew I could give them accurate guidance. And when we're coaching, that's what we're doing. We're giving people guidance and insights and sharing things that they can't see to make their vision clearer so they know what to do and they can have clarity and confidence in how to move forward. And that's very similar to giving readings. So I found that, yeah, for like years after I even stopped doing tarot readings, my coaching clients would be people that I had done readings for because it was demonstrating that gift of guiding people, which can apply in many different parts of your business. So the first thing is belief, and I know Emma does a lot of belief shifting, hypnotherapy, things like that, but belief is such an important part of this. And when we want to, I'm going to probably speak more to growing business because I know a lot of you already have businesses. But whether you're starting a new business or going to the next level, truly believing on a subconscious level that it's possible for you and that you can do it is so important. Look out for any of the sneaky stories that you're telling yourself about why you can't, why it's not possible for you, why it's easier for them and it's harder for you. All those stories dissuade you from really going after what it is that you're meant to do, and your subconscious beliefs need to be in alignment with where you want to go. And it can be so challenging because our conscious mind is such a tiny piece of it, around 5%. The vast majority is subconscious that we can't even see, sometimes stored in our body. So it's when you feel those responses, it's when you feel the stress, or you start telling yourself little stories and you start talking yourself out of doing things. You think you'll go for the opportunity, then the day comes and you actually step back and you don't ask the question, or ask for the opportunity, or apply for that speaking gig, or ask to be on someone's podcast. You step back from doing it. It's all the things like that, and just really noticing and really being honest about whether everything inside you is truly in alignment with you moving forward in the direction that you think you want to go. And that's really important as well, having a true desire. Like, what is it that you truly, truly desire? And again, that's the whole kind of excavation process, but being in alignment is the easiest way to success. It's the most fulfilling way, it's the easiest way, it's the smoothest way, it's the way that the universe will support you the most. And I'm sure you've all had this here. Drop a yes in the chat if you've had this, where you've been in alignment and then things just happen. Miracles happen, opportunities open up, and things start landing in your lap. You get more of those synchronicities, but that can only happen when we're honest about the path that we're meant to be taking. And I know when we're doing spiritual work, that can be really challenging, especially at the beginning, because it doesn't make sense. No one else around us is doing it. Sometimes we go from a respectable career to something completely crazy and wacky, or like becoming this witch, and no one really gets it. So it can be really, really challenging to actually face who we want to be in this life. And sometimes it's a part of our path to actually deal with that discomfort and to step out of the witch wound and out of people pleaser mode and be that one of one who's actually walking an individual path. When we're brave enough to do that, we are such an inspiration for others. And I have had friends from school who I was terrified of kind of coming out to doing this work. Actually, when I think about it, probably the most judgmental member of that group said to me, she was like, "You're so brave. Like, you're so brave doing it." And I thought, I know, because I know you're judging yourself a lot because you judge other people a lot. And so she understands, like, it's terrifying. It is terrifying to do. And when you follow your own unique path and you live in alignment, you're an inspiration to others in ways that you will never even know. Like, people may not even say that to you, but you are being an inspiration just by the way that you're living, just by being who you're meant to be. You inspire other people to be who they're meant to be. So it's very, very important. I think that the person that we model ourselves as, I think so much more happens through modeling than direct teaching sometimes. When people just kind of look at who you are and observe that and take that in, I think that has a tremendous impact. So purpose, where are we at? Let me just have a look in the chat quickly. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we've all experienced magic. So you know when you're in your purpose, you know when time flies, you get lost in the moment, lost in the flow, inspiration is flowing, creativity is flowing. I will say that purpose happens in chapters. And so I think we obviously all have a unique soul. We have certain inclinations, certain gifts, but even so, we go through chapters and phases. I don't think we're meant to be doing one thing forever and ever and ever, or sometimes we are, but there may be different kind of variations. For example, if you're truly meant to be an author in your soul, you'll have different books that you're working on about different topics and different interests at different times. If you are an intuitive, like I am, then, I did readings for a while until I got to the point where I would get a reading in my inbox and be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I was like, don't want to do this reading. It's like, okay, but I used to love it. I used to love it. And so that was just a part of my journey. Now I do Akashic Records readings and I do coaching, but in a few years I may not, like, who knows? But you have inherent soul gifts that will always be there, but they will come out and manifest in different ways, and you can use them in many different ways as well. So purpose does happen in chapters. And over time, you probably all know this. I know you're all spiritual and a lot of you already have businesses. When you go through those eras and those seasons and those phases, and you start to recognize when a chapter is closing and you feel the drag and the resistance, and what you used to love, you're no longer loving anymore. And you're like, what is happening here? And then you start to recognize, oh, this is kind of wrapping up. This is kind of coming to a close. This season, this chapter is coming to a close. I'm really noticing it in Devon now. Things are just kind of coming to a close. I'm feeling the resistance, but also like our friends down the road have moved away, and like things are just kind of wrapping up and like leaving here. So I'm like, I don't know exactly when I'm leaving, but I know it's happening because I can sense that pattern now, which I didn't used to notice. And now I just kind of surrender to it. And it's the same in our business. It's the same with your offers, maybe your niche and the thing that you focus on and that you're teaching about. And that's totally normal. That's totally okay. And when we're feminine business owners, it is part of our work. It is part of our being. We go through seasons, we go through cycles, we go through phases. And when we add resistance to that and fight ourselves about it, it makes it so much harder than it has to be. It's so important on this path of our purpose to let things go sometimes. Things that are out of alignment, even if they were once in alignment. And that can be really hard to accept because it's like, I used to love that though. What happened? what happened? But that is part of our path so that we can grow and evolve and expand and move on to the next thing. So even when you're in alignment with your purpose, there will still be that death and rebirth that happens. There will be invitations into new opportunities, new offers, new ways of expressing your soul gifts. So, what are you naturally gifted at? What does the world need that you care deeply about? What is that kind of matching point between what you have to offer and the gap that the world has, what people need to know about? As I said about my book, I was like, well, this is obvious to me, but it wasn't obvious. It's obvious to me now. It wasn't obvious to me then. And I don't think some other people know it either, even though it's easy once you know it. But I don't think everyone is listening to their intuition. I don't think everyone is respecting that inner knowing. And so I created a book to fill that gap because I had learned this big lesson that was a huge unlock for me. And then I realized, okay, well, I didn't know that. And I think a lot of other people don't know that. So I'm going to write a book about it. So it's understanding what that gap is that people need. And it often is something that's obvious to us at this point on our journey. And sometimes we miss it because it is so obvious to us. And what would you do for free because you love it so much? Not that you have to do it for free, absolutely not. But it's having that internal passion and drive is about so much more than just making money. And you have to choose to live in tune with your purpose. I'm sure a lot of you have faced the witch wound already. Let me know in the chat if you have faced the witch wound. If you continue to face the witch wound, that fear of persecution, the fear of being seen as woo-woo and weird and strange, the fear of not being respected. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it's a huge one. Also being afraid to change and take leaps. When you're invited to leave that career by the universe, when it's pulling on your heartstrings and it's saying you're not meant to do this anymore, and you're thinking, but how am I going to pay for things? I've trained for years to do this job. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You don't have to leap straight away, absolutely not. But it's what I was saying about when things start wrapping up, that's when you start to get the knowing, you start to get the sense, and it can be like, oh crap, yeah, this is happening. And it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and you'll be pulled into your next level. And staying stuck in old patterns, so the sunk cost fallacy, when you think, but I've put in all of that. It's like, yeah, but you've still got 50, 60 years of your life to go. So it can be really hard to let go of something that we have invested so much of our time and energy in. And I think it's so important to hold on to things loosely, to hold on to everything loosely. Our beliefs, our path, our purpose, even, it will always evolve and grow. But when we hold on too tightly and we attach too much to it, that is a recipe for being unhappy. When you're too attached to how you think things should be, how things should go, it should be this way. I put in that time, I spent all those years at university studying for this. I'm meant to be doing this forever. If that chapter is closing, the chapter is closing. And so when we can learn to just surrender and trust and release and let it go, it allows things to resolve so much more effortlessly, so much more smoothly. And then we'll also have our eyes open to see what the next step is. Yes, feeling it now still. Bless you. I did, but now I totally embrace it. Amazing. Definitely. And I think with all fears, including the witch wound, part of it is just practice. Like I had that with speaking and speaking on podcasts and going live and all of that. Absolutely terrifying, completely terrifying. But through a lot of practice, the fear goes away. So absolutely. That's what I said about resigning from social work, embrace the witchiness. Yes. I worry about my soul business not being for me, but feel this is more the self-doubt and fear of moving forward. Yes, it can be. And also, if you're drawn to it, it's for a reason. And that's sometimes the case with things that we're drawn to. There's something in it, doesn't mean it's forever. Like our life isn't forever. Nothing is really forever in terms of like physical things. And so it's just like if you're being called to it, that's all there is. There's something in there. There's something in there, and that's all that matters. You're never going to know the whole picture. You're never going to know how long it's for. All you can do is follow what feels right for you in that moment and follow your knowing in that moment and allow it to unfold, to be whatever it's meant to be, to last as long as it's meant to last. And a big unlock for me in that sense, because I've always been like, oh, but I want it to be forever. Like, I don't want to lose this thing. It's like, but what if it gets better? Like, what if it gets better and better and better? And even when you, like, if you're not meant to be doing that type of business forever, then you'll be born into the next level where there's an even better version of your business, or you're serving people in a slightly different way, using everything that you learned from that previous business and taking it into the next one. So, this is what I was saying again about chapters, seasons, cycles. When you really accept that, because that will inevitably happen when you're a feminine, intuitive business owner, it is all about seasons and cycles and chapters, then you can come into acceptance with that and not hold on so tightly. You're like, well, this is going to change. I'm going to change. My business is going to change. My offers are going to change. That is inevitable. So just kind of have fun with it and enjoy whatever is meant for you in the now and the near future, and then see how it unfolds. Another thing, so I talked about this on a podcast episode. Loads of people have commented on it. I talked about it at the Mind Body Spirit Festival. Loads of people said it was the one thing they remembered from that whole entire festival. Mortality motivation. And this is another thing where, to me, this is obvious. I think it all the time. And I realized, when I think something's obvious, often that's something I need to talk about because it's not obvious to other people. And it may be obvious to some of you, but I always think about, will I be happy when I die? Will I be happy when I'm on my deathbed looking back at my life? Will I be happy at how I spent my time, the decisions that I've made, who I've been, what I've done? And I think about that daily. Like, I always think about that. And that is called mortality motivation. So I didn't know it had a name. I just attributed it to, I lost my stepsister when I was 13 suddenly. And so I think I just grew up with this, like, life can go at any moment. Like, you don't know when people are going to go, you don't know when you're going to go. And so I always have this thought, like, right, but this kind of urgency, like, gotta live now. I can't stay in a job for 10 years that I hate because of time's ticking, like that kind of feeling. And that's called mortality motivation, when you think about the fact that you don't know when your life is going to end. So you have to make the most of your life now. It's funny as well. I remember I got a reading when I was 21, 22, like really young. And I got a reading. I was working at JP Morgan, and she said to me, she was like, it's not right for you. And I was like, oh, I'm only young. And she was like, no, like, da, 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 and like told me off for it. And I was using that as an excuse. And I was like, I'm only young. I've got forever. Like, I'll make that decision at some point in the future, because I was resisting making the change and facing the truth of what actually had to be done. And so we never really know how long we've got. Our job is to make the most of the now and the time that we do have, making sure that you don't live with any regrets. So we're talking about purpose, we're talking about having a life, doing work that feels meaningful. I'm sure you're all empaths and intuitives. You are service-led, heart-led. You want to do work that lights you up, that gives you energy. And there's a lot of science around this as well. So it can help your well-being, reduce the risk of depression, improve your quality of life, increase your motivation, and even help with pain management. So when you're doing work that you love that feels meaningful, it literally gives you a healthier, happier experience. So I would love to know in the chat, this is a little tuning in exercise. What mission do you feel you're here to fulfill? So don't overthink this one. Just what mission do you feel you're here to fulfill? Who do you think you're here to serve? What do you think your gift is? Do you have a kind of core message? Just one sentence. What mission do you feel that you're here to fulfill? And there is no wrong answer. You're not being judged or graded. Oh, I'm so glad, Angela. That really helps looking at it as chapters and growing. Amazing. To help people, particularly women and children. I love that. To help sensitive women thrive. Yes. Helping people who feel stuck by using the power of their home. Gorgeous. My home is my haven. I cannot live in a place or a space that I'm unhappy with. Help people heal through yoga and energy work. Beautiful. Sharing teaching around astrology and astrological magic. I love all of these. I've always been drawn to let men feel heard. So, so, so needed with the men's mental health crisis. I've always wanted to help people and empowering women to be their true selves, to help women lead a healthy, pain-free life. Beautiful. Oh, that's the rest of that one. To be their true selves, a powerful women's movement to be seen and heard and to step into their power and connect with their intuition, guiding others to live authentically as themselves. I am obsessed with all of these. I'm obsessed. Oh, beautiful. A community of women working with amazing soul-led, beautiful women. Okay. I am so glad that you are all feeling very clear on that. That they all just felt so aligned and so service-led, and that was just amazing. So always coming back to that on the hard days, making sure that all of your offers are fulfilling that mission. And there will be many, many different ways that you fulfill your mission. All of the offers that we have, the ways that we serve, whether it's one-to-one, readings, masterminds, group programs, memberships, a book, speaking on stage, whatever the vehicle is, they are all different methods and tools to deliver our mission. And one thing that I notice sometimes in my community with my clients is they get really hung up on the tool and they get really hung up on like, well, I Reiki, like Reiki is the thing. And I'm like, no, that's just a tool that you're using. That's not what your gifts are. That's not what your mission is. Maybe your mission is to heal people, to transform people in some way, but Reiki is just a tool, and we have many different tools. And perhaps when you're going through different chapters of your business, the tools will change. But your mission may not change that much. It may. There may be an evolution of who you're here to serve and how you're here to serve them. There may be certain big events in your life that are a catalyst into a different, like your purpose kind of goes in a new direction because you have this big life-changing event that changes the next chapter of your journey. But often it's the tools that we're using, and we're delivering a similar message and a similar mission, but using different tools. So don't get too attached to the tools and the way that you're serving people. Often we're delivering that mission in just slightly different ways and slightly different avenues. So your purpose is the transformation that you're here to create, not the modality. As I said, your purpose isn't being a Reiki healer. Maybe it's to bring people peace and calm. And it's a contribution in some way, especially as healers. We're all healers here. You will notice when you're in tune with your purpose because it internally motivates you. Get off a call and you feel calmer. You feel lit up. You can't stop smiling. I can't tell you the amount of times I often do calls at 7 p.m. in my programs. The amount of times I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm exhausted. I've just had dinner and I'm like, please, no, I don't want to do this call. And then after, I'm like, and I'm skipping down to my husband, like, that was so good. But beforehand, I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm so knackered. But then I do it and I love it and it fills me up. And that's a really good way of knowing when you're completely in alignment. It gives to others, but it gives to you as well. So let's dig a bit deeper into some of the business pieces. Now we've talked a lot about purpose and meaning and all of those things. So I know a lot of you are already in business and full-time in business. So I think the question for you guys is probably more, how can I serve more people? How can I serve more people at a deeper level? And when you want to think about doing that, definitely having a look at your tools is very, very important. When I made the switch, I used to do a lot of one-to-one work and readings. Like my first few years, that was all I did. And at one point, I have 7 one-to-one long-term clients, and I was doing readings as well as writing my book, going back and forth with Hay House, as well as working part-time as a lecturer, as well as doing a podcast, like all of these things. And I was drained. And I got the distinct feeling and knowing that I can't serve all the people I'm meant to serve in this way. I can't reach all the people I'm meant to reach if I'm doing 1 hour long one-to-one calls with people. There aren't enough hours in the day. I also can't be on calls all day. My energy doesn't work like that. And so I knew I was capped and I knew I was limited. And then I started doing more group programs. And that's what the majority of my business is now: memberships, masterminds, group programs. And my soul sighed a sigh of relief because I was able to reach so many more people. And also, what happened in those containers was the community aspect: women supporting women, people helping each other, people coming together. And seeing that has been one of the most fulfilling things about having this business. Seeing people coming together and make friendships and meet up with each other, while also I get to reach more people as well. So your modalities, the way that you're delivering your mission, might need to change to expand to reach more people if you want to serve more people at a deeper level. So just, I know we've got people at different levels here, but I'd be interested to know in the chat, what is your favorite way of serving people? And be honest. What is your favorite way of serving people? If you already have a business, or maybe if you're one of the people who doesn't yet, and you're thinking about, when you are serving people, is there anything that you feel called to? Are you a one-to-one person? Do you love groups? Would you love to just write books and sell online courses and not see anyone on a live call? Would you love to run retreats? I get a lot of clients who really want to run retreats and do in-person events. What is your favorite way of serving? Because everyone is so different with this. One-to-one, in groups, my women's circles, and my tarot and oracle readings, but want to start one-to-one coaching as well. My goal is retreats, one-to-one, but love teaching in groups and via speaking in the podcast. One-to-one in person at the moment, but really want to do retreats and workshops. I would think one-to-one, but was told I'll do great in groups. Amazing. Okay. Hoping for a mixture of small groups and online courses and see where it goes. Perfect. So you don't have to choose. You can do them all. I do a lot of different ones. The point is to be aware of all the different ways and the different opportunities that you have. My favorite of this list, so I'll run through them all. Direct service. So this is when you're working one-to-one with people, you're working very closely with them. So either one-to-one coaching or consulting, where you're advising people who are going on one-to-one calls. Maybe they've got private Telegram or Voxer access where they can message you at any time, or done for you services. So for example, a graphic designer where you're working with one person, you're working closely with them on a particular project, and they're creating something for you. So that's high touch, often highest price point because you're working so closely with someone. And then group programs where you charge a little bit less, but you're putting people into a group. So often you can make more money that way because you're serving more people at once. And also, instead of serving 10 people one-to-one doing 10 calls, you can serve 10 people with one call. So it's a huge way of leveraging your time. And with this, you can have group coaching, maybe you do a certification of some kind, astrology certification, coaching certification, yoga or Reiki, teaching others how to do those things. Masterminds, so kind of higher level group programs. They're for more premium price point and run for longer as well. You can also do masterminds where you give people some one-to-one calls. So it's a hybrid mastermind. So they're getting that high touch and then also the group experience as well. Live cohort courses where you're taking people through a program live, and then memberships. And I love the membership model. I love the membership model. It is my favorite thing because it gives you that monthly consistent income. Now, everyone is different, but in my experience, I have found the membership model to be the best. And memberships don't always have to be low price. That's generally what we think of when we think of memberships. We think of it as low priced. But the whole product model of a membership is that it's something that is always ongoing and people subscribe for a period of time. So you can actually run masterminds as a membership. So, for example, like I've joined one where you have it's a higher price point, it's a more premium service, but it's always running, and I subscribe for a year. And you can pay for that year in full, you can pay for it monthly, but I'm subscribing to something that's always running for a period of time. So it's like a membership. I'm being a member for that period of time. Then I can renew and do another year. And so a membership doesn't always have to be low ticket. It doesn't have to be £20, £30. It can be £1,000 a month. It's the model, it's just an expanded version of that membership model. If it's always running and people are joining for a certain period of time, they leave or they can come back in. That's a membership model. And what I love about it is that consistent monthly income. And also, you never have that drop down to zero because it's the staggered launches, because it's running all the time. Say you open it 4 times a year and they're on it for 12 months each. So there's always that overlap between all the people. So you never ever drop down. You've got that consistent income and it's always being replenished. You may have a few people leave when their time is up, but then you'll be doing a launch and you get a few more people in. So it makes your business so consistent. The point I started taking out a proper salary from my business was when I started my membership. I love memberships. I actually have 2 memberships now. And I've also started a new mastermind, which I'm contemplating making a high level membership because it's just such a fantastic business model. And there are different ways of doing memberships. You can do memberships with live components that do group calls and a group chat. You can do memberships where they're more like product drops, where you're emailing people a workbook and a meditation and a ritual and a training every month or something like that. There doesn't always have to be a live component. I've been in a membership that had weekly calls. And so when I started my membership, I did that. And then I realized that attendance was actually really bad. And I dropped it down to 3, and then I dropped it down to 2, and the attendance increased massively. And people were leaving and saying, oh, I just couldn't keep up with it. So more isn't always better. It's not always better. So if you feel overwhelmed by what you're putting into an offer like a membership, it's probably not the right thing. People don't always want more. They want what they can actually digest and implement and what is going to have an impact for them. Then you've got your products, so your online courses. Now, this is really interesting because the landscape is changing so much with AI. It has made information a lot more available. So I think it would be interesting to see how this changes. I know a lot of people years ago, like Amanda Francis, if any of you know her, she made millions from online courses, but kind of back in the day. And now she has a membership. So yeah, I think the online course world is changing a little bit, but what I always love to do with my online courses, and when I made them into group programs, I basically did online courses and just added a weekly group call. And then that allowed me to massively increase the price because they're getting so much more and add a group component. So then they're getting a network, they're getting live coaching, contact with me, and then also the course as well. So if you are thinking of online courses, just consider, can I add a group component to this? I've also done online course launches where they get a Akashic Records reading with me. So they get one-to-one call and then the rest of it is a course. So just think about how you can add a bit more, I don't want to say value because an online course is valuable on its own, but I think you'll see a big, and I've certainly seen a big difference in uptake when there is some kind of contact. It doesn't have to be loads. But I think another issue people have with online courses as well is they think, oh, I've done online courses and I never finish them. Like some people want a bit more accountability. What I've done to solve for that is drip courses. So I love Kajabi, and on other platforms as well. I've used Teachable and Thinkific, and where you schedule it to drip and drop at a certain pace, and they get an auto email so it lands in their inbox. I'll also do that to make sure that people keep up with it and they keep inspired rather than just being like, here's 16 trainings over 4 weeks. I'll email them and drip it out and be like, here's 4 trainings. You're in week 1. You're in week 2 now. Here's another 4 trainings. And then it creates that anticipation. That does help with completion as well for those. Digital tools and templates, so your workbooks and things like that, meditations, audios, and then books and ebooks and events. Loads and loads of people want to do events. I think events are really promising going into the future. I think we want more in-person connection than ever, especially after COVID, but just kind of going into the future, I see retreats, in-person connection becoming even more important. Circles and workshops, and then larger conference style events. I'm seeing a rise in those as well. So is there anything, let me know in the chat, is there anything here that you are feeling called to, that you're not doing yet, but you're like, I have been feeling the call to write a book, or I have been feeling the call to maybe start a membership, or maybe run that retreat. Claim it in the chat. What are you feeling called to? Book and retreats, book and workshops. Are they online workshops or in-person workshops? In person for sure. Amazing. I've had an idea for a book in my head since I was 18. I'm 52 now. Enough procrastination methinks. I love that. I love that. I don't know if you have a journaling practice every day. I do gratitude journaling every morning, and often pieces of writing will come through that. And then I take those little bits of gold that come through and I put them in a big document. And then I eventually have thousands and thousands of words and I organize them into a book. So with book writing, it's not, or at least my process, like I'm in the process of my second book, and I've just for the last like 2, 3 years, bits of my content, bits of emails that I write, bits from my journal, little thoughts that come into my head. I just write them in a phone note that's dedicated for my second book. And I've got tens of thousands of words in there now. So when you're writing a book, it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write this book. For me, it's just years of collecting bits and bobs, like bits of truth when I feel them, bits of wisdom, lessons that I've gone through. I just can collect all of those, like sentences, paragraphs, words into a document. And then at some point, I'm like, I've got like 100 pages here. And then I just start organizing them, picking out the themes, dividing it into chapters. And then it's a case of kind of sewing those things together within the text. So it doesn't have to be that you sit and like start from page 1. I just start with notes that I've collected over years. That's how I create all of my programs as well. Offering one-to-one coaching, women's circles online and face-to-face, struggling to get people in my online circles. Interesting. Any tips? I mean, it could be a lot of different things. Let me just see. I'm feeling for you. I wonder if it's how you're framing it. So sometimes just making it really clear what the transformation is and what the reason is why they should go to it instead of talking about like what it is, instead of being like, this is what it is and this is what we're going to do, really focusing on the transformation and who they're going to become in the process and what they're going to gain out of it so that it becomes this irresistible thing that they can't say no to because it's so desirable. I feel like making it really, really desirable and really talking to the transformation that they're going to get from it is going to be the most important thing. That applies to anything. I've just been making a book course within my mastermind. And I was saying that about the book as well. And it can be so easy to just talk about the book and we forget that, like anything in our business, we want to talk to the transformation, the result, the reason why they should do it, because it's always an investment of people's time. Regardless of the price, there has to be a really good reason for people to invest their time. And they're investing their time because they want to get some kind of result. They want to move forward and onwards and upwards in some way. So I'd really focus on that. and refining that and making it really like irresistible for people. Funny, a call yesterday, we discussed memberships. No way. Perhaps the universe is nudging me. Yeah. And again, I've taught this class in someone else's space, and I've talked about completely different things and like focused on completely different things. So it just shows that like what I'm talking about, because we set that intention at the beginning, what I'm like talking about a lot, there for certain people here. Another book or two as well, workshops for massage therapists, tolerant breathwork for pain to learn. Oh, bless you. Okay. And sometimes as well, giving people longer to sign up can also be helpful. I know it can feel like, oh, I've been talking about this for ages, but sometimes it takes a bit of time for the penny to drop. Um, Making sure that you're talking about it plenty of times as well, because again, it can feel like we've been talking about it loads, but they've only seen it on our stories once. So you really have to kind of show up a lot, maybe stretch it out, show up for a few more weeks than you have been, give people plenty of advance warning and make it really, really clear what the outcome is going to be and also why you're the expert. Why are you the expert to teach them that thing? Because I'm not saying this is the case for you necessarily, but sometimes what it can be is that people want that outcome. They just don't trust the person that's delivering it to be able to give them that outcome and that result. So just being like as objective as possible and like really stepping back and kind of tuning in and going, right, how can I make this as juicy as possible? What are these people really need? What are they calling out for? And how can I speak to that desire within them? And just really playing with that. And you'll know when you land it because you feel that like, oh, you're like, oh, yes, this is it. Like, this is so freaking good. And also, when you've done it a few times, you start to get an idea of what kind of works and what really lands for people. You advertise for 1 week, oh my gosh, advertise for a month, advertise for like 2 months. Yeah, stretch it out for sure. And go live. Yeah. Yeah, definitely raising the awareness, making it irresistible, and just like practice and keeping going. It can be, I don't know where you are in your business, but it can be really hard early on because people don't know about you yet. They haven't experienced your magic yet. So the first few years are definitely about just kind of building a reputation and getting people to know and trust you. And sales. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been an hour already. I'm sorry. I will wrap up soon. So leading with stories, one way of showing people that you're an authority is just taking people on the journey of your life and showing what you have walked through, showing who you have become. That gives you credentials beyond just your certifications, beyond just what you've learned when you've actually personally mastered it and they know that they can trust you as their mentor because you've been through it and you've walked through it first. Again, may be obvious to you, may not be obvious to them. We have to state these things so blatantly, and we have to state them 100 times, 111 times, 1,000 times, even though it feels like we're repeating ourselves. People need to hear it, and the more times they hear it from us, the more it's going to land. And even if they don't buy at that moment in time, they know that you're the go-to when they are ready to buy. So even if it's in 6 months' time, when they're looking for that yoga teacher or that astrologer, they know that you're the one to go to when they're ready. What also can happen is they recommend you to their friends. So even if you're not for them right now, when you're the go-to, they'll tell their friends about you as well. So share your journey and your transformation. It's obvious to you because you've done it, you've been through it. They don't know that. Focus on the results that you get people, the results you've got yourself as well, and sharing testimonials. Build a community around shared values. That really helps to get you known as the go-to as well when everyone is in a community all bonding over shared values and a shared vision and shared goals. And you're the person that created that community, people start to get the hint and they're like, okay, well, this is the space to be in if I want to be doing the spiritual stuff or the whatever it is, because all the other people there are like them. And it's like, oh, well, I like this space because this is a space where I fit in. And when that's your community, that helps to position you as the go-to for a certain thing as well. And content that positions you as an authority. So being intentional with your content, creating content with a purpose, having a clear intention for what it is that you want to do with that piece of content, whether it is to tell your story, whether it is to get them to take a certain action, sign up to a freebie, to buy something, to get some kind of breakthrough moment that is giving them a little preview of what it's like to work with you and have coaching with you because they've had a breakthrough just from reading a piece of your free content. Whatever it is, be intentional about what you actually want to do with that piece of content you're creating and be focused with that intention. When we're intentional about anything, it amplifies the power massively. And the same is true with content. Don't write a piece of content because you think you should that day and you better get something out there. It will fall flat and it won't be good and you won't enjoy creating it. Have an intention. Create content with a purpose. Identify your ideal client, your soul aligned client, the person that you know you can help because she's probably an older version of you. Design your signature program, your offer suite. I talked about all the different options on the last slide, but having some kind of flow that people can move through in your business from low, mid to premium. That means that when people graduate from your low ticket offers, they can move up into something high ticket, but not everyone will take that route. Some people just go straight in at the high end and want to work with you one-to-one. Set your pricing strategy and also make sure your prices are always aligned, which just means that you can stand behind them and promote them fully. There is no right answer with pricing. And I get asked this all the time and have been for years. There's no right answer. People charge £10, people charge £100,000. Like, there's no right answer. The right price is the one you can stand fully behind and promote, and you feel proud of it, and it feels like a fair exchange. If you feel resentful or bitter or like, this isn't enough, then it's too low. If you're embarrassed to say what the price is and you're like, oh, it's £500, and like you don't want to say it and you're like, oh, I'll email it to you, like, bye. And that's a sign that the price is too high. If you can't stand behind it and be like, yeah, this is the price. That is the sweet spot. That's the right price when you're proud of it and it feels like a fair exchange. Create your unique value proposition. So what is special about working with you that they won't get elsewhere? What makes you unique? It may be a part of your story, something you've experienced that a lot of other people haven't. It may be a certain gift that you have. It may be a certain modality that you use or a certain blend of modalities. So a little story on this. The way that I eventually got a book deal with Hay House is because I was intentional, which I hadn't been previously, and I looked at their whole offer suite, all of their books, and I was like, this is a gap. They've got books on intuition, they've got books on purpose, they don't have anything that blends the two. And Living in Tune is about 21 questions to activate your intuition and find your life purpose. So it's a guide to connect with your intuition and then use your intuition to figure out your purpose. And so they didn't have anything that blended the two things. So that's another way that you can have a unique proposition. And that was the one that got accepted by them because it was a gap, something they didn't have. The same is true in business. There are lots of people doing astrology. There are lots of people doing yoga. There are lots of people doing Reiki. But what makes it unique about the way that you do it? And it could just be, the way that you do it really sensitively and amazingly, or it could be like I have a friend I went to see the other week, and she is loving baby yoga. People go to yoga with goats. Like, there are different ways of doing things to make it different and to make it stand out. Set up your online presence, create your lead magnets and content. So the freebie that gets people onto your email list. This builds your email list foundation. I'm sure a lot of you already have email lists. Hopefully you love your email lists. For me, that is my favorite place to connect with my audience. So I use more than anything else. And then network, promote, and become the expert authority. And going back to the very first slide, when I started talking about this, I talked about belief. Because if you don't have belief, you're not going to be able to do any of this. You have to truly believe that you are the expert. You are the best person for the job that you're doing. You are the best person to lead your people in your way. You are the best person to run your business. You have a reason to show up and to share your message because it's an important message to share, and you're the one who has been given that purpose. So belief is essential for all of this. It is the absolute foundation. The subconscious work always has to be done because you have to truly believe that you're the authority, and that comes across as well. Because just by naturally you showing up and speaking about your topic, people can tell when you believe in yourself. People can tell when you believe in what you're talking about. They can tell when you know you're an embodied expert, because we all have something that we feel really comfortable talking about because we've lived it, we've helped other people through it, we've trained in it. Like it's our thing, we know it. And so people can sense that. And so then they trust you. And it means that when they want help with that thing, they're going to go to you. So just having that confidence and belief in what you're doing as well just helps with all of this. And that kind of signals to people that you're the authority without you even having to tell them, just through your embodiment. So to wrap up today, I mean, you've already done this, but I would love you to share in the chat what your mission is going to be going forward. So it could be an action that you're going to take after today. It could be your general mission, but maybe a bit refined from the one that you shared earlier. Something that you're going to take forward. So who are you going to help now? How are you going to help them? What are you going to do next? What is your mission after this call today? What are you inspired to do now? Who are you inspired to help now? What action are you going to take next? What are you devoting and dedicating yourself to now? Your story is your message, absolutely. Pricing has always been a struggle, bless you. Change my women's circles post, yes. Create online resources, yes. Set up a separate Instagram page for my breakup and divorce coaching. Put the chapters together and build with clarity, yes. Offering one-to-one alongside readings. I would also say with the book thing as well, what I started doing was devoting time in the morning. So I got up early and I would do like 2-3 hours first thing in the morning, which was so nice in winter when it's dark and you can light incense and light a candle and have your coffee and just really set up that creative space before you start your day and before everything gets like really crazy. If you can have some of that kind of sacred time, really make it into a sacred ritual, then you're going to want to show up for it because it feels so good and so divine. And that's true for anything. Like if you're creating anything, make it into this really sacred, special space and this ritual that you can't wait to get into, because that's going to help you to show up consistently as well if you make it feel good and enjoyable. Offering one-to-one, yes, alongside readings, amazing. Research membership models, Lexi, I love that. Be brave enough to be vulnerable online, incredible. To show up authentically and fully always, yes. Get some more of the next book researched, yes. Oh, no worries. Look up a Facebook post from a 5-day challenge earlier in the year, which I now realize is my mission, yes. Register my company name with Companies House before ID rules change next week. Start up my journaling again. Yes. Take note of your advice, Liz. Yay. Commit to posting on social media. Be gentle on myself while I grieve and heal, but make myself be seen and speak up about my story. Oh my goodness. Can we feel the power? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And I think it's so powerful to say these things publicly and to share them in a group because that creates accountability. You have just committed to all of these things. So write it down, take a picture of what you just said in the chat. This is for you to action from now on. Make a plan, start tomorrow, start your journaling tomorrow, start your book research, research your membership model, create that sales page for the one-to-one offer, like everything that you guys have said, take that step tomorrow. I won't make you do it tonight because it's in the nighttime and you're all in the UK, but do it tomorrow. Because when you're excited, that is the best energy to be in. Otherwise, it dissipates. There's something else to, oh, blah, blah, blah. Another week has gone and you've lost it, even though you've just identified what you need to do next. And whenever we don't get on with it, we get that nagging and it's really, really annoying. And it's because it's what you're meant to do. So set your first milestone date, start it tomorrow. And if it is something, like setting up a one-to-one sales page, then set yourself a deadline. Like this has to be done by Monday, or this has to be done by this date, because I'm going to tell people about it then. Also, what I'll do for accountability is I'll share that publicly. And so when I used to blog every week, I called it Wellbeing Wednesdays because I had to then share it on Wednesdays. Otherwise, I just let it slip. And so creating that accountability and saying, oh my God, guys, something amazing's coming on Monday. You're not going to believe this. And then, give some hints. And then that means, oh, I have to release this one-to-one page on Monday or whatever it is for you. And that is everything. So I'm on Instagram. That is my main place. I'm Liz Roberta. I have a podcast called The Liz Roberta Show. My website is lizroberta.com and my book is Living in Tune. There's also, in my Instagram bio, there's the first 3 chapters of the book for free. You can also see a free preview on Kindle, I believe, on Amazon. And yeah, I would love to connect with you all. So please do send me a message over there after this session today. Oh, you're so welcome. Do we have any questions before we go? You can also DM me after if something comes up. Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It's been so fun. So fun being in a room with all of you soulful ladies. So aligned. What an incredible group you have here, Emma.
Oh, thank you, Liz. I am so grateful to have you here in Soul Circle, and I know this is going to be really valuable for everybody that's been here this evening and anybody that watches it back on the replay as well. And I would highly recommend Liz's book because that's how I was introduced to Liz. I came across it randomly on an audiobook and then found out that we have come from 10 minutes down the road from each other, and the universe and the synchronicities brought us together, and she's been pivotal in my journey. So I'm really grateful to have you here, and yes, reach out to Liz if you've got any questions, questions about what she shared with us here today. But thank you so much.
Oh, I love that, I may have kept back some tears a little earlier. I love that.